If you just went through a divorce after 50 and you're staring at your bank account, wondering how you're supposed to rebuild your retirement savings with basically nothing left, stop scrolling because this is the video I wish someone had made for me. I'm going to give you the exact plan for restarting retirement in your 50s with no savings, step by step, including the one mistake almost everyone makes in the first 90 days that costs them thousands. Let's get into it. Here's the first thing you need to hear. Gray divorce, that's the term for divorce after 50, now makes up roughly 1 in 3 divorces in the U.S. You are not behind some unusual curve. You're part of one of the fastest growing groups in America dealing with exactly this problem. How to rebuild a retirement plan after divorce when the timeline is shorter and the starting point looks worse than it did yesterday. But here's what I want you to let go of right now. The idea that you need a 25-year-old's plan or a 35-year-old's plan or even your old plan as a couple. You need a plan built for exactly where you are. That's what we're building today. Before any retirement planning after divorce happens, you need 3 numbers on paper. Not in your head, on paper. Number 1, your Social Security estimate. Go to SSA.gov and pull your own Social Security statement. This tells you your baseline. But here's something most people going through a divorce after 50 don't know: if your marriage lasted 10 years or longer. You may be able to claim Social Security spousal benefits based on your ex's record, even after divorce, without affecting what they receive. This alone can be worth hundreds of dollars a month, and it's one of the most underclaimed benefits in the entire retirement system. Number 2, what you actually walked away with. Retirement accounts, any property, any spousal support or alimony, cash. Write the real number down, not the number you wish it was. Number 3, your current single income budget, not your old household budget. Your real number today. Household costs don't get cut in half when the household does. These 3 numbers are the foundation of every decision that comes next. Remember that mistake I mentioned at the start? Here it is: failing to update beneficiary designations after a divorce. This sounds small. It is not small. If your ex is still listed as the beneficiary on an old 401k IRA or life insurance policy, that money can legally go to them regardless of what your divorce decree says, regardless of your current wishes. This is one of the most common and most expensive mistakes in post-divorce retirement planning, and it takes about 15 minutes to fix. Do this literally today before you do anything else in this video. Same goes for your will, your power of attorney, and your healthcare proxy. If your ex is still named on those, fix them the same afternoon. Another quick 10-minute fix. Now, let's talk about actually rebuilding your retirement savings after 50 with no nest egg sitting there waiting for you. The good news, the IRS gives you tools specifically designed for this stage of life. Catch-up contributions let those 50 and older contribute more to a 401k or IRA than younger savers can. This exists specifically because the tax code recognizes that people need to accelerate savings later in life, including after events like divorce. Here's how to think about the math differently than you did in your 30s. You have fewer years, so consistency matters more than perfection. A single income retirement plan needs a larger emergency fund relative to your expenses than a dual income household needed. Your retirement age may need to flex, and that's a legitimate strategy, not a failure. Working 2 or 3 years longer can dramatically change your retirement security because it shortens the number of years your savings need to cover and often increases your Social Security benefit. Let's put real numbers to this. Picture someone who is 55, divorced, with $40,000 in retirement savings and a stable income of $55,000 a year. That is not a hopeless position, it's a starting position. With consistent catch-up contributions, a realistic Social Security claiming strategy, and a retirement age pushed to 67 instead of 62, that person can build meaningfully more security than it looks like from where they're standing today. The math isn't about matching what you would have had, it's about maximizing what's actually possible from here. And don't overlook the biggest lever you have right now, your income. Cutting expenses has a floor. Earning more doesn't. There's a piece of this most retirement videos skip completely, and it might be the biggest decision you make in the first year: what you do with the house. If you kept the house in the settlement, take a hard look at whether it actually serves your retirement or whether it's just familiar. A paid-off house that eats a big chunk of your monthly budget in taxes, insurance, and maintenance isn't automatically an asset. Sometimes it's a drain disguised as security. Downsizing isn't giving up. For a lot of people, rebuilding retirement after 50, moving to something smaller frees up equity that can go straight into catch-up contributions, and it lowers the fixed costs your single income has to cover every single month. Run the actual numbers before you decide out of sentiment. Next, the gap almost nobody talks about: healthcare between now and Medicare. If you were covered under your ex's employer plan, that coverage typically ends with the divorce. COBRA can bridge you, but it's expensive and temporary. If you're not back on an employer plan, look at marketplace coverage right away. Don't let a gap happen, because one uninsured medical event in your 50s can undo years of catch-up saving in a single bill. This is not optional homework. This goes on your to-do list this week, right under fixing your beneficiaries. Now, let's talk about how you should actually be investing this money, because your risk tolerance at this stage isn't about your age on paper, it's about your timeline. If you're 55 and planning to work until 67, you still have 12 years of growth ahead of you, which means going too conservative too early can be just as costly as taking on too much risk. The goal isn't to park everything in cash out of fear. It's to build a portfolio that matches the years you actually have left before you need this money, not the years you feel like you have left emotionally after a divorce. This is a conversation worth having with a fee-only fiduciary advisor, someone who's paid for advice, not commissions, so their guidance isn't tied to what they're selling you. One more thing before we wrap up: don't underestimate the psychological side of this. Rebuilding retirement after 50 with no savings isn't just a math problem, it's a confidence problem. A lot of people in this exact position feel like they're starting from zero, like the years before the divorce somehow don't count. They count. The experience, the skills, the earning power you built, none of that disappeared. What changed is the balance sheet, and balance sheets can be rebuilt. What can't be rebuilt is time, which is exactly why starting this week instead of next month matters so much. If you're watching this because you're in the middle of this exact situation, divorced after 50, rebuilding retirement, I'm not sure where to start. I want you to do one thing before you close this video: pull your Social Security statement today. That's step one. In the next video in this series, I'm breaking down exactly how 401k and pension division works in a divorce, including a mistake that can trigger a massive tax bill if you don't know about it. If this helped, subscribe so you don't miss it, and drop a comment letting me know where you are in this process. I read every one, and it helps me make the next videos actually useful to you. Starting late isn't the same as being finished. Pick one step and do it this week. Watch my 401k breakdown next. It protects what you still have.